The morning started like any other at Earth Defense Force headquarters. Commander James sat at his desk, sipping his third cup of coffee while reviewing reports from the outer system sensors. 20 years had passed since the last war on Earth, and humanity had finally started to rebuild. The scars of conflict still marked their cities, but they had grown stronger from it. The screen in front of him suddenly flashed red. At first, he thought it was another piece of space debris, common since the orbital cleanup projects began. But this was different. The signals were too organized, too purposeful. "Sir," Lieutenant Pete burst into his office, face pale. "You need to see this." They rushed to the main control room, where dozens of operators stared at their screens in silence. The giant wall display showed hundreds of objects entering the solar system. They moved in perfect formation, like a school of fish in space. "How many?" James asked, his voice steadied despite the weight of the moment. "Over 300 large ships, sir, and those are just the ones we can detect." Pete pointed to the patterns on the screen. "They're using some kind of technology we've never seen before. The energy readings are off the charts." James watched as more data poured in. The alien fleet was massive, each ship bigger than anything humans had ever built. Admiral Red paced on his bridge, his clawed feet clicking against the metal floor. The initial scans of Earth had turned up more questions than answers. Each new report from his science team made him more uneasy. "Show me their military bases again," he ordered. A holographic display lit up, showing Earth's surface. At first glance, it looked simple enough, scattered military installations, mostly near major cities. But then his analyst, Officer Blue, started adding layers to the display. "Sir, look at their farms." Blue pointed to vast areas of agriculture. "The patterns aren't random. They're designed to hide underground facilities. And their highways." He highlighted the road networks. "They're all built to serve as emergency runways." Red scales rippled with concern. "How many hidden bases have we found?" "We stopped counting at 3,000, sir, but there are more. These humans, they've turned their entire planet into a fortress." On Earth, Commander James walked through a hidden command center beneath what looked like an ordinary wheat field in Kansas. Screens showed the alien fleet's position, still holding at the edge of the solar system. Technicians worked at their stations, analyzing every bit of data they could gather about the alien ships. "What have we learned about their weapons?" James asked. Professor Mike, their lead weapons expert, pulled up a detailed scan. "Their technology is advanced, but not unbeatable. They use energy shields, but," he smiled, "they've never dealt with our kind of weapons before. Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons and plasma. They've got nothing that can handle good old-fashioned tungsten rods dropped from orbit." The aliens continued their scans, growing more confused by the hour. They discovered that Earth's oceans held countless submarines, each carrying enough firepower to destroy small moons. The human space stations, which appeared primitive, were actually armed to the teeth. "Admiral," Blue reported, "we've detected something disturbing. These humans, they've been fighting wars constantly throughout their history. They've developed and refined their weapons through actual combat, not simulations like we do." Red watched the data scroll past. The humans had weapons based on every possible technology: chemical, nuclear, kinetic, biological. They'd learned to fight in every environment: land, sea, air, and space. Even their children played war games for fun. "Look at this," Blue continued, showing footage of a human entertainment center. "They turn their battles into games. They make movies about war. They're obsessed with combat." In orbit around Earth, hidden satellites tracked every move the alien fleet made. The humans had learned much since they detected the fleet's approach. Each scan the aliens sent taught Earth's scientists more about their technology. James reviewed the latest findings with his team. "They're overconfident," he said. "They think their shields make them invincible. They've never fought anyone who thinks like us." "Sir," Lieutenant Pete reported, "the aliens are sending a probe toward Earth. Should we shoot it down?" James smiled. "No. Let them get a closer look. Let them see exactly what they're dealing with." The probe approached Earth, its sensors recording everything. It passed by what looked like a simple communications satellite. The satellite tracked the probe, scanning its every detail, learning its weaknesses. Admiral Red received the probe's first detailed images. They showed cities with thick walls disguised as decorative architecture, power plants that could quickly convert to weapon factories. Even the human's orbital junk field was actually a carefully planned defensive grid. "Sir," Blue said quietly, "I've analyzed their nuclear weapons. They're not just for show. They've used them before, on their own cities. Any species willing to do that." Red felt a chill run down his spine. The humans hadn't just prepared for war. They'd lived it. Every piece of their civilization was designed for both peace and war, ready to switch from one to the other in moments. "Continue monitoring," Red ordered, but his voice had lost its confidence. "We need to know everything before we make our next move." On Earth, James watched the aliens' probe with satisfaction. Soon, they would learn just how dangerous humanity could be. Admiral Red had seen enough. After 3 days of scanning Earth, he decided to test their defenses. He chose 5 of his fastest ships for a simple scouting mission. These ships had never failed him before. They were quick, well-armed, and nearly impossible to detect. "Move in closer," he ordered through the communication channel. "Show them a fraction of our power, but do not engage unless attacked." The 5 ships broke away from the main fleet, their engines glowing as they headed toward Earth. On their bridges, the alien crews felt confident. They had done this hundreds of times before on other worlds. On Earth, Commander James watched them approach on his control room's main screen. He turned to Captain Tom, his best ship commander. "Time to show them what the Thunder can do," James said. The Thunder was an Earth Defense Force destroyer, hidden in orbit behind a cloud of space debris. From the outside, it looked like a simple cargo ship, but inside, it carried weapons developed from centuries of human warfare. Captain Tom sat in his command chair aboard the Thunder, watching the alien ships draw closer. His crew worked silently at their stations, ready for action. They had trained for this moment their entire careers. "Remember," Tom told his crew, "we've got one shot to show them what we can do. Make it count." The alien ships moved past Mars, their sensors sweeping for threats. They found nothing. Earth's defenses remained hidden, waiting. "Sir," one of the alien captains reported to Admiral Red, "we're detecting no resistance. Their primitive sensors must not even see us yet." Red wasn't so sure. Something felt wrong. The humans' defensive preparations were too thorough for them to miss 5 warships entering their system. The Thunder waited until the alien ships were fully committed to their approach. Then Captain Tom gave the order. "Deploy the web." Suddenly, the space debris around the Thunder came to life. Hundreds of small objects fired tiny engines, spreading out in a pattern the humans had copied from fishing nets. Each piece carried a simple but powerful electromagnetic pulse generator. The alien ships flew straight into the trap. Their advanced shields, designed to stop energy weapons and missiles, did nothing against the simple magnetic pulses. One by one, their systems began to fail. "What's happening?" The lead alien ship captain shouted as his controls went dark. "Our shields are up. This is impossible." Captain Tom watched with satisfaction as the alien ships drifted helplessly in space. "Send the message," he ordered. The Thunder emerged from its hiding place, its true weapons now visible. The ship's sides opened, revealing rows of simple, tungsten rods. Kinetic weapons that needed no fancy technology to be deadly. Through their failing systems, the alien ships received a message in their own language. "This is your only warning. We could destroy you now. Leave our solar system, or next time we will." Back on the Dominion flagship, Admiral Red watched in shock as his 5 best ships were disabled by a single Earth vessel using impossibly simple technology. "Get them out of there," he ordered. Emergency tugs rushed forward to rescue the disabled ships. Commander James smiled as he watched the alien rescue operation. "Send the second message," he told his communications officer. All across the alien fleet, screens lit up with images from Earth's history. They showed countless battles, wars fought with everything from swords to nuclear weapons. The message was clear. Humans had been perfecting the art of war for their entire existence. The disabled alien ships were towed back to their fleet, their crews shaken. Captain Tom had demonstrated that humanity's primitive technology could defeat their most advanced ships without even firing a shot. "Sir," Officer Blue reported to Admiral Red, "the humans, they're not even using their best weapons yet. This was just a demonstration." Red stared at the images still playing on his screen, centuries of human warfare flashing before his eyes. For the first time in his long career, he felt genuine fear. On the Thunder, Captain Tom sent a final message to Earth Command. "Test complete." They got the message. The real battle hadn't even started yet, but humanity had shown the aliens exactly what they were dealing with. Professor Anna worked late into the night in her underground lab beneath Death Valley. Around her lay pieces of the alien technology they had recovered from one of the disabled scout ships. What she had discovered made her laugh. "Commander," she said through the video link to James, "their technology isn't actually more advanced than ours. It's just different. They focused on energy weapons and shields because that's all they know. They never thought to try anything else." James leaned forward in his chair. "Can we use this better?" Anna held up what looked like a simple metal cube. "We can improve it. Their shield technology has a major weakness. It can't handle rapid changes in magnetic fields. That's why our EMP web worked so well." In orbit, the alien fleet remained at a safe distance after the humiliation of their scout ships. Admiral Red reviewed the damage reports with growing concern. His best ships had been defeated by what seemed like primitive technology. "Show me the human weapon that disabled our ships," he ordered. Officer Blue brought up the scans. "That's the strange thing, sir. It wasn't one weapon. The humans used hundreds of tiny devices, each one barely powerful enough to light a room. But they linked them together in a way we've never seen before." "Like a net," Red muttered. "Yes, sir. They turned space debris into a weapon. They're doing the same thing with everything else, too." Screens lit up showing more of Earth's civilian technology. Weather satellites doubled as weapon platforms. Communication arrays could become electromagnetic pulse generators. Even their primitive nuclear power plants could be converted into weapon factories within hours. Back on Earth, Professor Anna made another breakthrough. She called an emergency meeting with Commander James and his staff. "Look at this," she said, projecting a diagram. "Their ships' hulls are made of a metal that's nearly indestructible to energy weapons. But," she smiled, "it becomes brittle when exposed to a specific frequency of sound." James raised an eyebrow. "Sound? In space? We don't need sound in space. We can create the same vibration with simple electromagnetic pulses. Their super-strong hull becomes as fragile as glass." The news spread quickly through Earth's defense network. Within hours, engineers began modifying their weapons to exploit this weakness. Humanity had spent centuries learning to adapt and improvise in warfare. Now those skills were proving invaluable. On the Dominion flagship, Admiral Red received more disturbing reports. His analysts had discovered that humans had been studying alien life for decades before first contact. They had movies, books, and games about alien invasions. They had planned for this moment for generations. "Sir," Blue reported, "we've detected energy signatures from their moon. They're moving it." Moving their moon? Impossible. But the sensors didn't lie. Humanity had built massive engines on the far side of their moon, turning it into a mobile fortress. What looked like craters were actually gun ports. The human ingenuity seemed to have no limits. Professor Anna made one final discovery that night. She found a way to recreate the alien shield technology using Earth materials and make it better. Their shields only work one way, she explained to James. They never thought to make them reciprocal. We can bounce their own energy weapons back at them. James smiled. How soon can we deploy this? We already have. I sent the designs to our factories 6 hours ago. They're upgrading our defenses now. The aliens watched in growing horror as Earth's defenses became stronger by the hour. Everything they had thought was primitive was proving to be far more dangerous than they had imagined. These humans, Admiral Red said to his command staff, they don't just use technology. They master it. They improve it. They think of things we never imagined. Officer Blue looked at the latest scans of Earth. Sir, should we retreat? Red stared at the images of Earth's rapidly evolving defenses. The humans weren't just ready for war. They were eager for it. They faced the greatest fleet in the galaxy not with fear, but with innovation and determination. The real question was, what else had humanity prepared for their unwelcome visitors? Commander James stood in Earth's main broadcast center, watching as technicians prepared the next phase of humanity's defense. But this time, they weren't preparing weapons. They were preparing information. Are we ready? He asked the lead communications officer, Mark. Yes, sir. Every ship in their fleet will receive our transmission. We're broadcasting on all frequencies they use, and even some they think we don't know about. The alien fleet had been sitting at the edge of the solar system for 5 days now. They hadn't attacked again after losing their scout ships, but they hadn't left either. Now it was time to show them something even more frightening than Earth's weapons. On the Dominion flagship, Admiral Red's screens suddenly came to life with images from Earth's history. At first, he thought it was another malfunction, but then he realized the humans were showing them something on purpose. Sir, Officer Blue reported, they're broadcasting to every ship in the fleet. We can't block it. The first images showed ancient human battles, armies clashing with swords and spears. Then came gunpowder weapons, tanks, planes. The images kept coming, showing how humans had developed more and more devastating ways to fight. How many wars have they fought? Red asked, his scales pale with shock. Blue checked the data. We've counted over 15,000 major conflicts in their recorded history, sir. And those are just the ones they wrote down. The broadcast continued, showing scenes that made even the battle-hardened Dominion crews uncomfortable. Humans fighting in every possible environment. In deserts, in snow, underwater, in space. Humans developing weapons that could destroy entire cities. Humans rebuilding from the ashes, getting stronger each time. Commander James watched the aliens' reactions through their own communication channels, which Earth had cracked days ago. The psychological warfare was working better than they had hoped. Show them the training facilities, he ordered. The broadcast shifted to show military bases around Earth, young humans learning combat from childhood. War games that looked like play but taught real strategy. Civilians practicing emergency drills, ready to turn from peaceful workers to warriors in minutes. Sir, a junior officer reported to Admiral Red, we're detecting increased activity in their population centers. But they're not panicking. They're organizing. Red watched as millions of humans calmly went about their business, even with an alien fleet threatening their world. They showed no fear. Instead, they looked ready, eager even. The broadcast changed again, this time showing Earth's weapons factories. Massive underground complexes that had been hidden but now revealed themselves, producing weapons around the clock. The humans were making no effort to hide their capabilities anymore. They want us to see this, Blue realized. They're not afraid of us knowing what they can do. In the broadcast center, Mark turned to Commander James. Sir, they're trying to respond to our transmission. Let them, James said. Let's hear what they have to say. Admiral Red's voice came through, trying to sound confident. Your weapons are impressive, humans, but we have conquered many worlds. We have experience you cannot match. James smiled and pressed the broadcast button. You've conquered worlds, yes, But how many of those worlds fought back? How many had spent their entire history preparing for this moment? The broadcast showed more images: Earth's orbital defense grid, the weaponized moon, the armed satellites. But more importantly, it showed Earth's people, united and ready for war. "We don't just fight wars," James continued. "We master them. Every conflict makes us stronger. Every battle teaches us something new. We've spent thousands of years learning how to fight, how to survive, how to win." In the Dominion fleet, crew members watched the broadcasts with growing unease. They had never encountered a species that seemed to welcome war, that had turned combat into an art form. Admiral Red felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries of conquest: doubt. These humans hadn't just prepared for war. They had built their entire civilization around being ready for it. And now, they were showing the galaxy exactly why they should be feared. Commander James gave the order everyone had been waiting for: show them everything. Across the solar system, what the aliens thought they knew about Earth's defenses suddenly changed. The moon, which they had already found impressive, began to transform. Massive sections of its surface split apart, revealing weapon systems that made their own guns look like toys. Admiral Red watched in disbelief. "What are they doing?" "Sir," Officer Blue reported, his voice shaking. "The humans, they've hollowed out their moon. It's not just a base. It's a mobile battle station." The moon's hidden systems came online one by one. Giant doors opened in the surface, showing shipyards that had been building vessels in secret for decades. Hundreds of human warships emerged, each one designed using knowledge gained from studying alien wrecks found on Earth over the years. But that wasn't all. Mars, which had seemed like a dead world with a few small research bases, revealed its true nature. The polar ice caps split open, showing massive underground facilities. What the aliens had thought were simple research stations were actually entrances to huge military bases. "They've been preparing for centuries," Blue whispered, watching the displays. "Everything we thought we knew was wrong." On Earth, Professor Anna activated the final part of humanity's defense system, the asteroid belt, which looked like a random collection of space rocks, suddenly came alive. Thousands of asteroids lit up with engine burns, showing they were actually weapon platforms in disguise. "The minefield is active," she reported to James. "They're trapped between Mars and the asteroid belt." The alien fleet found itself surrounded. Behind them, the armed asteroids created a wall of weaponry. In front of them, Earth's hidden fleet emerged from the Moon and Mars. And Earth itself bristled with weapons they hadn't even known existed. Commander James opened a channel to Admiral Red's ship. "For 50 years, we've been finding pieces of alien ships that crashed on our planet. We learned from them. We improved them. Every story of a UFO crash was real, and we used each one to prepare for this day." In the alien fleet, panic began to spread. Their scans showed human weapons they couldn't even understand, defenses they had no way to counter. Earth had taken alien technology and combined it with human ingenuity in ways the Dominion had never imagined. "Sir," Blue reported to Admiral Red, "their weapons, they're not just copies of alien technology. They've mixed their own ideas with what they learned. We have no defense against most of them." James continued his message. "We've been preparing for this moment since we first looked up at the stars. Every war we fought taught us something new. Every piece of alien technology we found made us stronger. We're not just ready for war. We've spent our entire history getting ready for this exact moment." The moon moved into attack position, its surface now bristling with weapon ports. The Mars defense fleet spread out in perfect formation, showing battle tactics learned from centuries of naval warfare. The asteroid belt weapons locked onto their targets. Admiral Red faced the hardest decision of his career. His mighty fleet, which had conquered 17 worlds, now found itself outmatched by a species they had thought primitive just days ago. "Sir," Blue said quietly, "we've detected more ships launching from Earth's oceans. They hid an entire fleet underwater. And their gas giant planets. There's something moving in their atmospheres too. James watched the alien fleet's confusion with satisfaction. Humanity had hidden its true strength for centuries, building layer after layer of defenses. Now they were revealing everything at once, overwhelming the aliens not with weapons, but with the sheer scale of their preparations. "The choice is yours, Admiral," James broadcast. "You can leave now, peacefully, or you can find out just how many more surprises we have waiting. Either way, Earth will not fall. We've spent too long preparing for this day." The alien fleet hung in space, faced with a decision that would change the galaxy forever. Fight the most prepared civilization they had ever encountered, or retreat and admit that humanity was not to be underestimated. And Earth's defenses were still powering up. Admiral Red stood on his bridge, looking at the stunning display of human military power surrounding his fleet. His scales had turned almost white, a sign of extreme stress in his species. The mighty Dominion fleet, which had never known defeat, was now caught in a trap centuries in the making. "Send the message," he ordered, his voice heavy with resignation. The Dominion fleet began to move, but not forward toward Earth. Instead, hundreds of massive warships turned around, their engines glowing as they prepared to leave the solar system. On Earth, Commander James watched the retreat with his command staff. Nobody cheered. Nobody celebrated. They simply watched in professional silence as humanity's first potential alien war ended before it began. "Message from the Dominion flagship," Lieutenant Pete reported. Admiral Red's voice came through clear and formal. "We acknowledge Earth's strength and sovereignty. A full report will be sent to the Galactic Council, recommending Earth's immediate recognition as a major power." But James wasn't finished yet. "Before you leave, Admiral, we have one more message for your council." The main screen in Earth's command center displayed a new set of images. This time, they weren't showing weapons or defenses. Instead, they showed Earth's universities, hospitals, and research centers. They showed humans helping each other, building things, exploring space peacefully. "We didn't build all this because we want war," James explained. "We built it because we want peace. Real peace, the kind that comes from strength and mutual respect." In the retreating alien fleet, Officer Blue studied the new images with fascination. "Sir," he reported to Red, "their medical technology, their scientific research, they're as advanced in peace as they are in war." The images continued, showing humanity's achievements in art, science, and exploration. Earth had launched countless peaceful missions into space, always ready to meet new friends, but also ready for enemies. 2 weeks later, Commander James stood in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council. The massive room was filled with representatives from 1,000 worlds, all watching as Earth was formally recognized not as a new member, but as a major power. Admiral Red himself spoke to the council. "Earth is not a planet of simple warriors," he declared. "They are something far more impressive, a species that mastered both war and peace. Their weapons are mighty not because they love violence, but because they understand that true peace must be protected." The council members murmured among themselves. Many had read Red's detailed report about Earth's defenses, about how humans had spent centuries preparing for this moment, while still advancing their civilization in peaceful ways. "We recommend," Red continued, "that Earth be granted immediate major power status, with all rights and responsibilities that come with it. They have more than proven their capability." James stepped forward to address the council. He noticed how many of the alien representatives moved back slightly, their species' various signs of nervousness showing clearly. Earth's reputation was already spreading through the galaxy. "We come in peace," James said, using the traditional human greeting that now carried new weight. "We have shown you our strength not to threaten, but to ensure that our first contact with galactic civilization would be as equals, not as potential conquests." The council voted unanimously to accept Earth as a major power. As James signed the formal documents, he could see the mixture of fear and respect in the aliens' eyes. Humanity had achieved something unprecedented, gaining galactic recognition not through centuries of diplomatic relations, but through pure readiness. Back on Earth, Professor Anna and her team were already studying the new technological information shared by the Council. Captain Tom was preparing to lead Earth's first official diplomatic fleet, and in hidden bases across the solar system, humanity's defenses remained ready, just in case. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Earth was not a primitive world to be conquered. It was a sleeping giant that had finally awakened, ready to join galactic civilization, but always on its own terms. And somewhere in deep space, Admiral Red wrote in his personal log, "In all my years of conquest, I never met a species more prepared for war, yet more dedicated to peace. The humans didn't just survive first contact. They had been rehearsing for it for their entire history."